everyone fine? Or
Which one was it?
3.1.
2, 3, 10. So Canto 2, Chapter 3, verse 10.
2.3. How to search in Google Browser? BG.
SB. SB. No, not BG. S. Srimad Bhagavatam. SB. No, just SB. Space. 2, 3, 10.
2.3.10.
2 dots. Dot 3. Dot 10. And probably you can move closer. I'll do.
Did you find the verse?
Yeah, I don't know. It says text then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's you can just search SB database 2.3.10 2.3.10. Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo 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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayashva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. So these are two verses that are commonly recited before Bhagavatam class. And the first one is the Narayanam Namaskritya, is about who you are paying respects to, or supposed to pay respects to before reading the Bhagavatam. And mentioned there is the goddess of learning, Saraswati Devi, the author Vyasadeva, and also the Supreme Personality of God in the form of Narayan Rishi. Manifests in a particular place, at a particular time. Anyway, and the other verse is about the rewards of regularly studying, listening to, and reciting Bhagavatam. That it will basically purify you greatly. So, today we're in this famous verse. So, a verse that can be broaden the perspective on Bhakti Yoga, and also could be quite attractive for people in general. So, I'll read the verse a few times, and then we can do line by line with calling a response, and then we do the translation, synonyms, and then I will read the translation. So I'll read the whole verse a few times, and then you can also see the response. So, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajita purusham param. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajita purusham param. So you can do now the response line by line. So Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhihi
Mokshakamaudaratihi
Tivrena bhakti yogena
Tivrena bhakti yogena
Yajita purusham param
Yajata purusham param
Akama sarva kamo va
Akama sarva kamo va
Mokshakama udarati
Mokshakamaudaratihi
Tivrena bhakti yogena
Tivrena bhakti yogena
Yajita purusham param.
Yajata purusham param.
Anyone else? Can do?
Akama sarva kamo va
Akama sarva kamo va
Mokshakama udarati
Mokshakama udarati
Tivrena bhakti yogena
Tivrena bhakti yogena
Yajita purusham param
Yajita purusham param. Anyone else?
Serial
Akama sarva kamo va
Akama sarva kamo va
Moksha udarati
Mokshakama udarati
Tivrena bhakti yogena
Tivrena bhakti yogena
Yajeta pushpam param
Yajita purusham param. Okay, so repeat after me, translations word by word. Akama, one who has transcended all material desires.
One who has transcended all material desires.
Sarvakamaha,
Sarvakama,
one who has the sum total of material desires.
one who has some total of material desires.
Va, either. Mokshakamaha,
Mokshakama,
one who desires liberation.
one who desires liberation.
Udarati,
Udarati,
with broader intelligence.
with broader intelligence.
Ivena,
Trivena,
with great force.
with great force.
Bhakti yogena,
Bhakti yogena,
by devotional service to the Lord.
by devotional service to the Lord.
Yajita,
Yajata,
should worship. Purusham,
Purusham,
the Lord. Param, the Supreme Whole.
the Supreme.
Purport and translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Check.
Translation: a person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of all material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead. So kindly repeat. A person who has broader intelligence,
Who has broader intelligence,
whether he be full
whether he be full
of all material desire,
all material desire
without any material desire,
without any material desire
or desiring liberation,
or desiring liberation
must by all means worship
must by all means worship
the Supreme Whole,
the Supreme Whole,
the personality of Godhead.
the personality of God.
Purport: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, is described in the Bhagavad Gita's Purushottama, or the Supreme Personality. It is He only who can award liberation to the impersonalists by absorbing such aspirants in the Brahma Jyoti, the bodily rays of the Lord. The Brahma Jyoti is not separate from the Lord, as the glowing sun ray is not independent of the sun disk. Therefore, one who desires to merge into the Supreme Impersonal Brahma Jyoti must also worship the Lord by Bhakti Yoga, as recommended here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhakti Yoga is especially stressed here as the means of all perfection. In the previous chapters, it has been stated that Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal of both Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. And in the same way, in this chapter, it is emphatically declared that Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal of the different varieties of worship of the different demigods. Bhakti Yoga, thus being the supreme means of self-realization, is recommended here. Everyone must therefore seriously take up the methods of Bhakti Yoga, even though one aspires for material enjoyment or liberation from material bondage. Akama is one who has no material desire. A living being Naturally being the part and parcel of the Supreme Whole, Purusham Purnam, has as his natural function to serve the Supreme Being, just as the parts and parcels of the body, or the limbs of the body, are naturally meant to serve the complete body. Desireless means, therefore, not to be inert like a stone, but to be conscious of one's actual position and thus desire satisfaction only from the Supreme Lord. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained this desirelessness as Ajaniya Parama Purusha Sukhamatva Sukhatvam in his Sandarbha. This means that one should feel happy only by experiencing the happiness of the Supreme Lord. This intuition of the living being is sometimes manifested even during the conditioned stage of a living being in the material world. And such intuition is expressed in the manner of altruism, philanthropy, socialism, communism, etc. by the undeveloped minds of less intelligent persons. In the mundane fields, such as outlook of doing good to others in the form of society, community, family, country, or humanity, is a partial manifestation of the same original feeling in which a pure living entity feels happiness by the happiness of the Supreme Lord. Such superb feelings were exhibited by the damsels of Vrajabhumi for the happiness of the Lord. The gopis loved the Lord without any return, and this is the perfect exhibition of a kama spirit. Kama spirit, or the desire for one's own satisfaction, is fully exhibited in the material world, whereas the spirit of akama is fully exhibited in the spiritual world. Thoughts of becoming one with the Lord or being merged into the Brahmajyoti can also be exhibitions of kama spirit if they are desires for one's own satisfaction to be free from the material miseries. A pure devotee does not want liberation so that he may be relieved from the miseries of life. Even without so-called liberation, a pure devotee is aspirant for the satisfaction of the Lord. Influenced by the kama spirit, Arjuna declined to fight in the Kurukshetra battlefield because he wanted to save his relatives for his own satisfaction. But being a pure devotee, he agreed to fight on the instruction of the Lord because he came to his senses and realized that satisfaction of the Lord at the cost of his own satisfaction was his prime duty. Thus he became akama. This is the perfect stage of a perfect living being. Udaradhi means one who has a broader outlook. People with desires for material enjoyment worship small demigods, and such intelligence is condemned in the Bhagavad Gita as Hrita Jnana, the intelligence of one who has lost his senses. One cannot obtain any result from demigods without getting sanction from the Supreme Lord. Therefore, a person with a broader outlook can see that the ultimate authority is the Lord, even for material benefits. Under the circumstances, one with a broader outlook, even with a desire for material enjoyment or for liberation, should take to the worship of the Lord directly. And everyone, whether an akama or sakama or mokshakama, should worship the Lord with great expedience. This implies that bhakti yoga may be perfectly administered without any mixture of karma and jnana. As the unmixed sun ray is very forceful and is therefore called tivra, similarly unmixed bhakti yoga of hearing, chanting, etc. may be performed by one and all regardless of inner motive. Om Ajnanti Mirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahayam Dadati Swapadati. So this verse is a great reminder whenever we feel struggling in spiritual life, that we might come to the realization that I'm not that pure. I have a lot of material desires still. So, but this verse is reassuring that even if you're full of material desires, by trying to serve the Supreme Lord, all that is also taken care of. If you want to address specific material desires, that is also described in the Vedic literature, how you can worship this demigod for that purpose and the other demigod for that purpose. But you have probably all at some point heard the expression was stressed, oftentimes stressed by Prabhupada, that if you water the roots of a tree, it will all get nourished. So you don't have to take care of specific leaves and twigs and branches, which would be the analogy to worship demigods. So if you water the roots of a tree, focus on that, then the other things will be taken care of as well. Same as with you try to nourish the body. You don't try to feed the hand or the ear. You try to get the food into the stomach, and then it's all distributed throughout the limbs, just like the by worshiping the original person. His employees will also be satisfied. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita here, like how to understand him to become peaceful, to be relieved from material distress. And Krishna says, I don't remember which chapter, could be chapter 7. He says, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam yatpamam shanti mrichati. So a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate benefactor of all, ultimate beneficiary of all austerities and sacrifices, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, as well as the benefactor and well-wisher of every living entity, such a person attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. So this is a very is a verse worth contemplating on. Like, where am I lacking in these things that Krishna is asking you to realize, to be peaceful? So 3 things he is mentioning, so that he is the one who is the beneficiary of the austerities and sacrifices. So you don't have to address the demigods. You can address him, because ultimately he's the one who is accepting the offer. And when he is happy with the offer, the demigods will be happy with the offer, and then you're happy with the offer or the result. So that's the one thing. And the next thing is that, kind of the same point. It says he's the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods. So yeah, because he's the let's say boss. He's the king. He's the one who is due the worship more than any of his minions or subjects. And the last thing is that, yeah, he wants the best for every living entity. So with that, keeping that in mind, knowing that whatever is happening is happening for my spiritual benefit, especially if I'm trying to make spiritual progress. So I wanted to say, so there is, yeah, the difference is, like, when you worship the demigods, there is a limit to what that can do for you. The highest goal there is to go to the heavenly planets, which seems very attractive, because longer lifetime, everyone's mode of goodness, more beauty to be seen, more beauty to be heard, better drugs, like that. But this, when you have actually done all that good karma, it's like it's going to be finished. You have to come down again. So that situation is not eternal. That's just temporary promotion, you might say, because you did some things that the boss of the bosses of the heavens were pleased with, but then you have to go down again. But if you worship the Supreme Lord, that is not the limit. We can go beyond the heavenly planets to that situation which is eternally ecstatic, and more ecstatic because it's not based on sense enjoyment, because sense enjoyment can never satisfy the soul, but of course it's just that the facilities for sense enjoyment is they're higher in the heavenly planets. But there is also another difference, because Krishna doesn't actually want us to go to the heavenly planets. He lets us if we really want it, but he wants us to come back to the spiritual world. So if we worship Krishna with some lingering, or maybe a lot of lingering material desires in the mind, then that is fine. But he's not only gonna facilitate having a better material situation or going to heavenly planets. It's gonna be like, with Krishna you will have to graduate all the time to the next class. You cannot stay in elementary school. You have to so because Krishna wants you to come back, he wants you to be purified, even though you might get some material desires satisfied on the way. Krishna will also keep testing you, and if you really want to go back to Krishna, when you get that purification, he might take everything away, and that's very special mercy that happened to Prabhupada, for example. That there was he lost his business and had to leave his family, and so that way when Krishna took away everything, he soon saw it as very special mercy that he could break free from all these material attachments. So when we realize that we are not as pure at heart as we would like, we can remember this verse that, okay, even though I'm full of material desires, it's even so best to worship the supreme spiritual person, because he's the one who is able to facilitate all of it ultimately. So that's what I want to say today. We can open up for discussion if someone has a question or some point of discussion here.
How can we get rid of material desires?
Basically the principle to advance in Bhakti Yoga quickly is to accept everything that is conducive for Bhakti Yoga, for serving the Lord, and reject everything that is impediment to that. So yeah, you can. So that's so you follow. Yeah, that which is beneficial for spiritual life, for devotional life, and you reject that which is hindering it, or like that. So typically, the answer is you chant Hare Krishna. But I remember I heard like Prabhupada was basically prescribing 4 activities that is enough for the devotee. And first of all, you have to take care of the health, because that's the basis to be able to execute any service. And you have to chant, and you have to read, and you have to do some service. So that's basically it for simple living and high thinking, like Prabhupada would call it, his vision for farm communities that were established a lot in the 70s, but unfortunately many have didn't continue to do the thing. Yeah, but yeah, basically chant Hare Krishna with utmost attention and dedication.
Thank you.
Yeah, Prabhuji, this Shloka says, if you have the material desire and you do not have the material desire, you have to pray the God. Okay? So how it is possible? Like person has the material desire, I am praying the God, then I will have only the material desire from the God.
The thing is, with this, Krishna will be very expert in satisfying a let's say healthy amount of what you're desiring, and at the same time that you be purified, so you kind of progress away and advance beyond these desires. So rather, the Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehinaha Raso Varjam Rasa Pyasya Param Drishtva Nivartate. From the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says even though you regulate from some, let's say, inauspicious or material activities, in the beginning the taste for the sense objects will remain, but by continuously putting the intention to transcend or go beyond, one will develop a higher taste, and by that be more firmly fixed in consciousness. Param drishtva nivartate. So, so you will get if you have the material desires, Krishna will help you both to satisfy those, while also purifying and go beyond the abstraction little by little for higher taste. Yes.
Can I just extend a bit to this question? The question that he asked about material differences, not differences, desires. So I agree that I do have material desires, and somehow I really don't want it to go away. I think that helps me to grow further. So how do I get to know that how much is the limit that I should desire? How can I be enlightened that, okay, this is what is the right thing?
Well, ultimately, when the soul comes to the point of final purification, all the material desires will be gone. But on our way there, if we have the material desires that we want to satisfy, the Vedas give the regulated way to do it without sin, with the karma kanda and all that. How to pursue the material desires without incurring sinful reactions. So that's yeah, that's how how it's prescribed to follow when if one has the desire to follow the material desires, one is advised to go by the karma kanda section of the Vedic literature. Yeah.
That's a reading. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's in the Rig Veda or Atharva Veda. I'm not sure now. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so I don't know what's next on the program. Hmm?
Thank you so much for the lecture.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Some arati or
Yeah, do you want to lead?
singing?
Do you want to do that?
I'm not sure about that.
Don't have.
Yeah. Should we just listen here something?
Yeah. Can I ask him what the plan is? There's someone there. There was actually someone there. Two boys there. Maybe. It's okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I think just we sit the arti and we not do arti. It's okay. And after Bhakta Dimitri come to offer the boga, I bring
Probably
you
in
the
the
boga.
kitchen.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so we